Imagine the leader of the Catholic Church walking unannounced into the very office he once headed, without fanfare, without warning. Pope Leo XIV's surprise return to the Dicastery for bishops stunned the Roman Curia and sent a clear, powerful message. What was behind this unexpected visit that seemed so simple, yet carried a weight of spiritual depth no one saw coming? In the next few minutes, you'll uncover 10 hidden meanings packed into this single act, meanings that reveal a masterclass in humility, leadership, and the subtle art of papal diplomacy. Let's begin with number 1. Number 1, a return to his roots. Why would a newly elected pope return so soon to his old office? Pope Leo XIV's decision to revisit the Dicastery for bishops mere weeks after his election stunned many, but this wasn't a casual stroll down memory lane. Before he became the Vicar of Christ, Cardinal Robert Prevost was the prefect of this very dicastery. It's often called the engine room of the Church's global episcopal appointments, the place where bishops around the world are chosen, shaped, and sent forth. By returning here so early, Pope Leo XIV sent a clear message: he intends to build on his past, not break from it. His papacy isn't about starting fresh with an entirely new agenda, it's about deepening and expanding the work he already began. This act of coming back wasn't mere nostalgia. It was a strategic, spiritual statement, a bridge linking continuity with renewal. Historically, popes who have revisited their previous roles so openly often signal stability during times of change. Leo's visit acknowledges that the Church's leadership is a living tradition, one that honors its roots while reaching toward the future. It's a reminder that leadership is not about leaving behind the past but embracing it as the foundation for growth. But there's more beneath the surface. This return is also a quiet lesson in humility, reminding the Church and the world that power is not about distancing oneself from former duties but about embracing them with renewed purpose. What deeper implications could this hold for the Church's direction? Stay with us as we explore what lies behind this remarkable gesture. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2, the power of silence, no speech, only presence. What message does a pope send by saying nothing? When Pope Leo XIV entered the Dicastery for bishops, he did not deliver a speech. There were no grand proclamations, no official announcements. Instead, he presided over Mass, shared quiet moments with the staff, and then left as silently as he came. In the Vatican's world, this quiet gesture is anything but ordinary, it is thunderous. Silence, especially when wrapped in the sacred rituals of the liturgy, can speak louder than any sermon. By choosing presence over words, Pope Leo XIV conveyed a profound message of humility and reflection. His silence invited those around him, and all who witnessed the visit, to pause and consider the deeper meaning of leadership, faith, and service. Historically, papal silence has been a powerful tool. It can signal contemplation, unity, or an invitation to listen more deeply to God and the Church's mission. Leo's choice to remain silent, yet fully present, is a subtle reminder that sometimes the most transformative leadership happens not through speeches but through embodying spiritual commitment. What might this silence mean for the Church's future tone? Could it be a new model of papal humility and leadership that values action and presence over rhetoric? The mystery deepens as we continue. Now, let's turn to number 3. Number 3, a quiet minivan, a loud message. Why does the Pope keep using a humble dark minivan? In a world where papal appearances often include the iconic, glass-encased Pope Mobile, Pope Leo XIV has chosen a starkly different path. Instead of riding in a grand, armored vehicle that proclaims status and security, he travels quietly in a simple, unmarked dark minivan. This is the very same modest vehicle spotted during his earlier visits, like at Genazzano and among the Augustinian friars, reflecting a deliberate choice, not convenience. This van has quietly become a symbol of Pope Leo's style of leadership, understated, practical, and profoundly pastoral. By rejecting the spectacle, he embraces mobility that allows him to move freely among people without barriers, blending humility with accessibility. The message is clear: his papacy prioritizes closeness to the faithful over pomp, echoing the spirit of past popes who championed simplicity and direct engagement. Historically, popes have used vehicles as symbols, but Pope Leo's choice evokes a powerful contrast. It reminds us that true leadership in the Church is about service, not show. It signals a shift back toward a pope who walks alongside the flock, a shepherd who travels without fanfare, ready to listen and accompany. Could this quiet minivan mark a new era of pastoral leadership? The answer may unfold as his papacy continues to surprise. What lies ahead will reveal more. Number 4, the third surprise. Is there a pattern? 3 surprise visits in under 2 weeks. Coincidence? First Genazzano, then the Augustinians, and now the Dicastery for bishops. These unexpected appearances are not random acts of spontaneity but pieces of a carefully designed plan. Pope Leo XIV is establishing a new rhythm for his papacy, unpredictable yet deliberate, a style that breaks away from tradition while seizing attention. Surprise visits hold power in the Catholic tradition. They interrupt the expected, shake the routine, and create moments charged with presence and meaning. Pope Leo's choice to step into these spaces unannounced echoes the pastoral heart of Jesus, who moved freely among people, not behind barriers or schedules. Each visit sends a message, leadership rooted in closeness, humility, and genuine encounter. Historically, popes have sometimes embraced the unexpected to reinvigorate the Church's mission. Pope Leo's approach revives this legacy in a modern context, quietly rewriting the rules about how the papacy engages with the world. These visits build anticipation and deepen curiosity about what's to come. Is this new pattern signaling a profound transformation? Only time will reveal how far these surprises will shape his papacy and the Church's future. The unfolding journey is just beginning. Number 5, from prefect to pontiff, returning with authority. How does returning to your old office change when you're now the Pope? Imagine stepping back into your former workplace, not as an employee or even a manager, but now as the ultimate leader, someone who once presided there, now returning with a new mantle of authority. Pope Leo XIV's surprise visit to the Dicastery for bishops, where he once served as prefect, was far more than a nostalgic return. It was a profound theological statement about leadership in the Church. How does leadership transform when the leader becomes servant? Pope Leo shows that true authority is not about distance or hierarchy but rooted deeply in relationship and service. By celebrating Mass with his former staff and blessing the place where he once worked, he reaffirms that power in the Church flows from humility, from walking alongside those you lead rather than standing above them. This act echoes centuries of Catholic tradition. Leaders as shepherds, not rulers. Historically, popes who embraced servant leadership fostered renewal and unity. Leo's gesture signals a continuation of this legacy, emphasizing pastoral closeness over rigid formality. His return to the Dicastery embodies a vision of leadership grounded in encounter and genuine presence. What might this mean for the future direction of his papacy? His footsteps in these halls may just be the beginning of a transformative journey. Number 6, spiritual governance begins in the chapel. Why did Pope Leo XIV begin his visit in the Dicastery's private chapel instead of the boardroom? Right from the start, Pope Leo chose prayer over procedure, silence over speeches. This choice speaks volumes. By entering the chapel first, he reminded everyone that the work of governance, especially in the delicate task of selecting and guiding bishops, must be rooted in spiritual discernment and not merely in administrative decisions or political calculations. It was a powerful visual and theological statement. The Eucharist is the source and summit of church leadership. How often do leaders begin their days, and especially their most important work, by seeking God's guidance? Pope Leo's visit rekindled this ancient Catholic wisdom, underscoring that every pastoral act flows from intimate encounter with Christ in the liturgy. This isn't just protocol. It's a call to remember that authority is a sacred trust, a ministry of service fueled by prayer. Historically, popes and bishops have grounded their governance in prayerful reflection, acknowledging that human wisdom alone falls short. Pope Leo's choice evokes this tradition, setting a tone for leadership that embraces humility, dependence on grace, and a shared sense of mission. What fruits might grow when spiritual governance leads the way? This visit suggests a papacy committed to prayerful, relational leadership. Number 7, the crowd that wasn't planned. What happens when the Pope appears unexpectedly before the people? Word spread like wildfire across Rome. Without any official announcement, locals began gathering near St. Peter's Square, sensing something extraordinary was unfolding. Then it happened, spontaneous applause erupted, voices shouting "Viva Illinois Papa" echoed through the cobblestone streets. This wasn't part of any scheduled event or Vatican protocol. It was pure, unscripted presence, and that's where its true power lay. The surprise visit by Pope Leo XIV reminded everyone that leadership is not just about planned appearances or formal ceremonies. It's about authentic connection. When the Pope shows up unannounced, it breaks down barriers of distance and formality, creating a moment of genuine encounter between shepherd and flock. Historically, popes have often walked among their people in moments of crisis or celebration to offer reassurance and solidarity. This surprise gathering revived that ancient tradition. Emotionally, it was a breath of fresh air, proof that the Church's head remains deeply connected to the faithful, not just through doctrine but through presence. This trust, born from authenticity, energizes the community and inspires hope in a world that often feels distant from spiritual leadership. What might this unplanned crowd mean for the future of papal engagement? Could spontaneity become a new form of pastoral outreach? Number 8. A papal style is emerging. What does this reveal about who Pope Leo XIV is becoming? With every quiet, unscheduled appearance, a distinctive pattern begins to take shape, one that blends the personal with the profoundly spiritual. Pope Leo XIV's approach is anything but traditional pomp, it is deeply relational and sacramental. He is a shepherd who walks alongside his flock, not from a distant throne but amidst the people. This style shows a ministry rooted in integrated humility, a rare balance where administrative leadership meets grounded spiritual presence. Historically, popes who have transformed the Church often did so by blending governance with pastoral closeness. Pope Leo's low-key visits recall the example of Pope John Paul II, who famously connected with people worldwide through warmth and simplicity, and Pope Francis, whose humility and openness reshaped papal identity. Leo XIV is following this lineage while carving out his own path, one where the Eucharist and personal encounter are not afterthoughts but the foundation of his leadership. Emotionally, this style invites hope. It reveals a leader who understands that true authority in the Church arises from service and closeness, not mere bureaucracy. It also signals a future where Church governance is lived not behind closed doors but in the open, where the sacred and the everyday meet. What might this emerging papal style mean for the Church's future direction? Could this blend of humility and wisdom become the new standard of leadership? Number 9. Echoes of Augustine. Minihook, how is Pope Leo XIV's Augustinian heritage shaping his leadership? Pope Leo XIV carries a unique distinction. As the first pope from the Order of St. Augustine, his background deeply informs his approach to the papacy. This isn't just a title, it is a living influence that shapes his vision and actions. The Augustinians emphasize three core values: community, humility, and interiority. These principles are more than theological ideals, they are the very foundation animating Pope Leo's ministry today. When he returned to celebrate Mass with his former colleagues at the Dicastery, it wasn't a political gesture but a profound moment of spiritual renewal. It echoed the Augustinian charism, the call to live within a community of faith while fostering a deep interior life. Augustine of Hippo's legacy teaches that true leadership starts from a humble heart and a reflective spirit. Pope Leo embodies this by prioritizing prayer, listening, and a sense of shared mission. Historically, the Church has seen how deeply the spiritual heritage of its leaders can influence its direction. From St. Augustine himself to the many popes inspired by monastic and religious orders, this lineage highlights the importance of interior transformation as the source of authentic change. Pope Leo XIV's Augustinian roots promise a papacy grounded not just in doctrine but in lived holiness. What might this deep connection to Augustinian spirituality mean for the challenges ahead? Could it steer the Church toward a renewed focus on community and interior renewal? Number 10. The Pope who knows the corridors. What happens when a pope is already an insider? Pope Leo XIV walks these halls not as a distant overseer, but as someone who knows the Roman Curia's inner workings intimately. Before becoming pope, he served within these very offices, understanding both the challenges and the rhythms that shape the Church's central governance. This insider perspective gives him a rare advantage, he's not just a reformer issuing distant commands but a leader who remembers the heartbeat of the institution. So, what does it mean for the Church when its leader is deeply familiar with the machinery he now guides? It signals a nuanced approach, one rooted in empathy, experience, and patience. His recent surprise visit to the Dicastery for bishops was a quiet yet powerful reminder to the Curia: I haven't forgotten where I came from. I am with you, not above you. It's a gentle assertion of solidarity that builds trust and opens doors for authentic reform. Historically, popes who were insiders often navigated reforms with a blend of respect for tradition and an insider's clarity about what needs to change. Leo's leadership follows in this line, rooted in history, aware of complexity, and motivated by a desire to serve rather than control. What new direction might emerge from this intimate knowledge? Could this insider pope redefine how leadership and collaboration thrive in the Vatican? This visit by Pope Leo XIV wasn't just a casual stopover. It was a profound theological gesture, leadership deeply rooted in prayer, personal relationships, and a powerful memory of service. Inside these sacred Vatican walls, even the quietest moments carry the potential to reshape history itself. The most striking moment? His unannounced Mass at the Dicastery for bishops, not a political statement, but a heartfelt return to a community that shaped him, reminding us all that true leadership begins with humility and presence. Now, we want to hear from you. How does knowing a pope's personal journey change your view of his leadership? Can leadership rooted in memory and relationships transform institutions as large as the Vatican? What might Pope Leo's example teach us about leading with empathy in our own lives? How important is it for leaders to connect deeply with those they serve? Could this intimate approach to reform inspire change beyond the Church? If you felt moved by the spiritual depth behind every step of Pope Leo XIV, subscribe now to Sacred Pulse Times. Hit the bell so you won't miss our next deep dive, from the grand sacred palaces to hidden chapels, exploring the living faith carved into every stone. Peace be with you.